Greetings, fellow captains, and welcome back again for a second time today. I know you're probably going to be pretty fed up with me soon, but we're going to go through my top 3 picks for battleships in the upcoming ranked battles. Unlike the cruisers, I don't have clips saved of them all, and well, I'm too busy making videos to get onto the game and provide some new clips. So pick number 1 is the USS. Is it USS? USA. Anyway, the American Tier 5 Premium, the Arizona. Reasons why I picked the Arizona, quite simply, it's obviously the New Mexico is essentially the same ship. You can see why. For outright damage, the Arizona severely punishes. It's a pretty versatile ship. I think we're going to see. I think this is going to be one of the predominant ones because it's quite forgiving. Out of all the Tier 5 battleships, the American ones tend to have quite a considerable amount of armor, and they're accurate. So from range and close up, you're gonna see the devastating power of the Arizona as we go through. The accuracy of the guns, particularly close range, dealing with that destroyer just then, is a firm reason why I think we're gonna see quite a lot of these, and quite a lot of these doing particularly well. I'll get on to my second choice as this video progresses, but I don't have clips of my third choice, to be honest with you. I'm sure I've got clips there somewhere, but the Fuso, I'm gonna name it like my wild card. The Fuso has got the most powerful broadside, but the Fuso has the weakest armor of the Tier 5 cruisers. The Mutsu is just too inaccurate. That ship's basically a troll. It'll either one salvo kill absolutely everything, or you'll fire 100 salvos and miss every single one. So we're going to count the Mutsu out really early on. The Bayern is a very good ship, but I don't think it's a very large target for itself, and it doesn't have the accuracy of the Americans, and I just don't see it doing particularly well. As you can see, this is why I think the Arizona is going to do well. It just decimates everything. If you catch a ship side on, that's it. They're going down. They're getting a lot of damage caused to them in a very, very short space of time. Yeah, I'm counting out I can't remember exactly which one. At Tier 5, we've got the French Dunkirk. The Dunkirk it's a good ship. It's reasonably maneuverable, but its firepower is limited. It's quite good against cruisers, but you'd need to have a really good accuracy build, and I'm not 100% sure how big of a part cruisers are going to play. And if you get caught broadside in the Dunkirk or the other Tier 5 French battleship, you're going to get sunk really, really quickly. Obviously, if you disagree with any of my opinions, because they're just my opinions. If you disagree with any of them, pop it in the chat below. We can have a bit of a conversation. And I'm always open to being proven wrong, or even having a discussion about the differences between different ships. Maybe some strengths that I haven't taken into account, like the French ships. All right, fair enough. Their speed could be could be quite good in 7v7, where you might have to skid around the map pretty quickly. But will it make that much of a difference? That is the big question. Here is actually, we're firing at my second choice, and I picked the Warspite and the Queen Elizabeth for this exact reason. That Queen Elizabeth was broadside to us at range, so we should have been striking some really good damage. It's only part of the reason why, and I think the British ships, they're underestimated quite a lot. They're not quite as forgiving as the American ships, but look at that armor. He's taking shells from me and another battleship, and taking it like a boss. So I think the British ships are definitely going to play a part. They're going to be particularly. I'll talk about them a bit more when we get the Warspite video up. So yeah, the Arizona, it's got great guns, very accurate, very powerful, and with the armor, it's pretty forgiving. The Fuso, although it's got the strongest guns, they're not the most accurate. You've got to get in close. You've got to use island cover. And although it's got more potential damage, its potential for getting citadels, as we've seen in the Fuso slightly earlier in this match, is also pretty high. So I just can't see it doing that well, and I don't think it's going to be a particularly common ship in the upcoming battles. So we're coming close to the end of this match, and as you can see, 3 citadels, 113,000 damage. This is what makes the Arizona such a good ship. We predicted torpedoes, and we're going to turn and we're going to go for the New Mexico because, well, that's got more hit points for us to take, and very close range. We should provide some substantial damage as we lose another ship. So it's just myself and this little destroyer that's with me here. Good thing for battleship players particularly is they're being restricted to only having 2 destroyers in a match, and that's going to play a key role. Most of us quite used to seeing 3, 4 and even 5 destroyers every single match, and having that reduced to 2, it's definitely going to be interesting. We're going to see more use of cruisers, more use of battleships, and as I mentioned in the cruiser video, you're still in a battleship. You're still going to have to be very wary of the potential of taking torpedoes from the cruisers, and don't get too complacent because of the lack of destroyers in the games. So as that battle ends, we are about to move on to great score, 144,000 loss, but we still gained 6,000. Oh no, that was a win. We still gained 6,000 XP. So the Warspite, the grand old lady, as she's very affectionately known. I've got a video going detailing into the history of what is the most decorated battleship of all time. Arguably as well, she holds the longest, jointly owns the longest recorded naval main battery gun hit in history at 24 kilometers. Shares that jointly with the Scharnhorst. The Warspite hit, got to remember this right, the Giulio Cesare of the Italian Navy, as she and her cruiser escorts very quickly made a retreat. After the Scharnhorst was sailing, its cruiser escorts were very intimidated by the large caliber guns on the Italian cruisers. So the captain of the Warspite said, well, why lead by example, charged right in, and with the sheer ferocity of her guns, the Italian Navy very, very quickly decided that this is not a good place to be, and we're going to get out of you. So they turned their tails and run. The Warspite decided she was not going to let them get away that easy, and her last salvo that she fired at a range of 24 kilometers put a 8-foot hole in the side of the Giulio Cesare, which was one of the capital battleships of the Italian Navy at the time. So that's quite interesting. And this is where I think the British ships seem to get forgotten a bit, because their guns are really accurate. You'll see we cause some devastating damage. A lot of people think because the high explosive is so good, you only have to use high explosive. This match, I was just using armor piercing to prove how strong it was. Obviously, the high explosive on the British ships is absolutely phenomenal, and that gives you more options. It gives you a lot of options when it comes to how you're going to play in the ranked battles, and you know, you can assist in burning them down. If they're angled away from you, the chances of fire are much greater than most other battleships, and if they're sailing broadside to you, they are going to get punished with armor piercing. I would definitely have the shell switching perk on the British battleships, that's for sure. So as you can see, we're taking a fair pounding, and that's another thing to point out, because I'm actually using it. Another big advantage for the Warspite and the Queen Elizabeth as well also is how good the heel is. The heel is, I believe it is the best on any tier 5 battleship. As you see, we absolutely destroy that cruiser there. With the guns, if you notice, when the Queen Elizabeth, when the Warspite fires, it's the shell velocity is really high, so the trajectory of the shells is pretty flat, which means your shots get to your target quicker, and you don't have to give it so much lead. It allows you to be that bit more accurate. It gives you that pinpoint precision, as this New Mexico is about to find out. He was full health a salvo ago. 2 salvos later, he's dead, and we've still got 20,000 of our hit points left. The armor is surprisingly forgiving and surprisingly tough on the British ships as well. So we continue to make a turn. We're looking to see who else we can delete in this match. We're getting harassed by the Arizona back there with his fully fledged American camo on. He's almost full health. We fire a couple of shots and miss, unfortunately, with our oh no, those weren't our shots, those were someone else's. So as you can see, he's angled quite well. They're really quite comparable, these the British and American ships. They're played right, they're both quite forgiving, they've both got good guns, they've both got good accuracy. Granted, I think the British ships, you do need to close the distance down a little bit more. At the extreme ranges of the guns, they're not quite as accurate, but as you can see there, we had one shell hit, and we done 6,000 damage. And throughout this exchange, the Arizona hits us with high explosive, and does minimal damage and is unable to start a fire. We could switch to high explosive and start burning him down, but it's not necessary. As you can see, again, another nice chunk of damage with the armor piercing. The armor piercing is, like I I said, surprisingly powerful on these British ships. So yeah, so I can't think of any other ships apart from these three that could really have an impact. You need a ship where you have the ability to carry a match, because if you end up with a team of potatoes and they fail badly, you need to be successful in ranked battles. You need to finish as the top XP earner on your team, and to do that, you need to be able to dish out large amounts of damage and get a lot of kills. And I think out of all the ships, I think the Dunkirk is too situational. You need to have a lot of cruisers to do exceptionally well, or you need other battleships to, you know, get within 8 kilometers of you so you can actually penetrate their citadels. So the Bayern, I think, is just a bit too big and a bit too slow. I'll be honest, because of the campaigns, didn't really play the Bayern. I sort of skipped through it because I unlocked the Gneisenauer. So feel free to chat about it a bit more below. And well, those are just my thoughts and opinions. Thanks for sticking with us, and until next time, take care.